Welcome to A Journey in Song. We explore the experiences Manda writes about in an attempt at self-healing through creating as a South African author, poet, lyricist, and storyteller.
Absolutely.
And, have you ever been so deep in an emotional spiral that you just felt completely paralyzed, like you couldn't move forward at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've all been there, right?
Right. And what if the cure to that paralysis isn't a solution, or an action plan, but exactly 55 minutes and 23 seconds of someone doing absolutely nothing to fix your problem?
Which sounds completely counterintuitive when you first hear it.
It really does. So today, our mission for you on this deep dive is to decode the motive behind Manda's lyrics in her song, Butterflies. We aren't just doing some standard poetry review today.
No, definitely not.
We are looking at these lyrics as evidence of a highly effective emotional survival strategy. And to do that, well, we have to start with the real-life psychological catalyst that birthed this specific piece.
Yeah, the literal event that sparked the whole thing.
Exactly. So Manda had written an article, and tucked within the lines of that public writing, she revealed that she was in a state of severe psychological distress. It was, for all intents and purposes, a literal SOS.
Yeah.
And a friend of hers, a busy lawyer living in a completely different country, operating in a totally different time zone, read that article, recognized her state, and just picked up the phone.
Which is exactly why this scenario demands a highly rigorous framework. Like, we really need to leave the superficial, purely artistic analysis at the door for this one.
Right. No fluff today.
Exactly. Zero fluff. If we apply a strict, uncompromising biological and psychological lens to this, like really leaning into those Huberman, Peterson, or Bartlett standards of analysis, we can look specifically at the neurobiology of trauma.
Okay, yeah.
And, somatic regulation and the clinical reality of radical acceptance. Because if we do that, we can actually reverse engineer the mechanics of what happened during that phone call.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, we are going to look at a breakdown of what happens in the human brain when a lifeline is thrown across the world.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because what strikes me first about this song isn't an emotion or, a sweeping metaphor. It's a stopwatch.
Right. The exact time.
Yeah. The lyrics open with a hyper-specific metric, quote, 55 minutes and 23 seconds long, unquote.
Which is such a weirdly precise way to start a song.
Right. Not like we talked for an hour or, we had a long chat. Exactly 55 minutes and 23 seconds. So why lead a deeply vulnerable emotional song with the exact literal duration of the call?
Well, to really understand why she emphasizes that specific time frame, we have to look at the biology of distress.
Okay.
When you are in a state of deep psychological crisis, your sympathetic nervous system just completely takes over.
That's the fight or flight thing, right?
Exactly. You are in fight, flight, or freeze. And your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for logical, linear processing, it just starts to shut down.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so the world becomes chaotic, overwhelming, and totally fragmented. Now think about what this lawyer gave her.
Right, his time.
Exactly. He is a professional who literally bills by the minute. His time is his absolute most valuable currency, and he is operating in a different time zone.
So this call was a massive disruption to his day.
A huge disruption. And he freely gave her a mathematically precise boundary of time. In that highly activated, chaotic state, a hyper-specific detail like 55 minutes and 23 seconds acts as a cognitive anchor.
Oh, I get it. So it's like when you're freezing and someone hands you a blanket, you don't just remember the warmth, you remember the exact weight and texture of the fabric.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, yeah.
Or like a ship spinning in a storm without a compass. The 55 minutes isn't just a break in the weather, it's a lighthouse coordinate. The brain finally has a fixed mathematical point to anchor to, stopping the spinning. It latches onto the physical reality of the rescue. But why lead the song with the stopwatch? Does quantifying the time somehow validate the depth of the emotional confession that follows?
What's fascinating here is that the quantified time totally validates the vulnerability. It's not just a navigational point, it acts as a structural container for her.
A striral container.
Yeah, look at how the lyrics continue right after that metric. She says, quote, "was the call where I spilled my guts and confessed my all."
Oh, wow.
Right, and spilling your guts is a messy, totally unregulated biological process. It is a massive, exhausting, energetic output.
For sure.
So by framing that chaotic emotional release within the rigid, precise boundary of those exact minutes and seconds, the time itself becomes the walls of a safe room.
Oh, I see.
The brain recognizes, hey, he didn't cut me off, he didn't rush me. The precision of the time proves the magnitude of the patience.
That makes perfect sense. It really bridges the physical reality of a phone call to the dark internal space she was confessing to.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if you're listening to this and you've ever felt like your brain is just spinning its wheels over a past mistake, well, what you referred to earlier is rumination.
Oh, rumination is the worst.
Yeah, it really is. And what Manda describes next is exactly what you need to pay attention to if you struggle with that. She says, quote, "He is my friend and wanted to know how I am and how did it go in my thoughts that I had pinned as butterflies to a board beautiful and dead."
That imagery is just haunting.
Here's where it gets really interesting. She's acting like a trauma entomologist.
A trauma entomologist, I love that.
Right, because she's not interacting with her thoughts as living things anymore. She's just staring at them trapped in glass.
It is an absolutely perfect clinical metaphor for severe rumination.
How so? Like biologically?
Well, let's deconstruct the mechanics of what she's describing there. What actually happens in the brain when a mind is paralyzed by distress?
Right, because it really does feel like paralysis.
It does. The thoughts themselves, those butterflies, they might have once been beautiful. They were ideas, hopes, memories, or potential futures.
But then something changes.
Exactly. Through the lens of trauma and overanalysis, the brain stops letting them fly. The cognitive flexibility dies.
Wow.
Yeah, when you ruminate, you are actively piercing the thought, trapping it, and staring at it.
You aren't interacting with reality anymore.
No, not at all. You are obsessing over the static artifact of a thought. The mind becomes paralyzed because it is entirely surrounded by these dead artifacts of its own making.
But she isn't just sitting in a room alone doing this anymore.
Exactly. The dynamic shifts completely.
Because the song transitions from this solitary clinical observation of her own pain to a deeply shared physical experience. She sings, quote, "He asked, and I cried. He listened and cried too."
And that is the absolute biological turning point of the entire event.
The shared tears.
Yes. We tend to think of empathy as this abstract, poetic concept, like feeling someone's pain.
Right, like an emotional thing.
But what's actually happening here is neurological co-regulation.
Wait, hold on. Let's pause there for a second.
Sure.
I hear co-regulation thrown around a lot in pop psychology lately.
Oh, constantly.
Right. So for us non-clinicians, how does hearing someone cry on the other end of a phone physically change the wiring in my chest or my brain? Like, how does that actually work?
That's a great question. It really comes down to the mammalian nervous system, specifically the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve, okay.
Yeah, the vagus nerve is like this biological superhighway connecting your brainstem directly to your heart, lungs, and gut.
So it controls the physical stress response.
Exactly. When Manda is staring at those pinned butterflies, her vagal tone is super low.
Meaning she's stressed.
Right. Her heart rate is likely elevated, her breathing is shallow, she's entirely dysregulated. But when her friend listens and cries with her, his nervous system is actually mirroring hers.
Even over the phone.
Even over the phone. Because his vocal tone, the pacing of his breath, the pauses on the phone line, all of those auditory signals travel straight into her middle ear.
And that connects to the vagus nerve.
Yes. It connects directly.
Oh, wow. So his physical response is literally sending biological signals into her ear to act like a brake pedal on her racing heart.
That's a perfect way to describe it. His regulated, empathetic presence signals to her brainstem, hey, we are safe. There is no predator here.
That's incredible.
It really is. The vagus nerve responds to that shared emotional resonance by slowing the heart rate and deepening the breath. It gently pulls her autonomic nervous system back to a baseline of safety.
So it's a very real somatic shift.
A profound somatic shift, yes. But it's crucial to understand that this level of rapid co-regulation over phone line requires a very specific pre-existing architecture.
Right, because you don't just immediately co-regulate to that depth with some random person reading your article.
No, definitely not.
The lyrics reveal they have a serious history. She sings, quote, "He is my friend to whom I can say anything at all. We have sailed across dreamy seas and built an island of thought. We dubbed each other alligator and oracle, and found the lost bits of us somewhere in talks we shared.
Those nicknames are so telling.
Yeah, they have secret names. They have built an entire mental geography together.
That island of thought she mentions is key, because in psychological terms, they spent years establishing an architecture of profound psychological safety.
An architecture of safety. I like that.
Yeah, think about the mechanics of a distress signal. An SOS sent out into the void is totally useless unless there is a receiver tuned to the exact right frequency.
Makes sense.
He could read between the lines of her public article because he already knew the landscape of her internal world, right?
Yeah, he knew her baseline.
Exactly. They had built a bounded, safe environment where judgment is completely suspended. When she says they found the lost bits of us, she is describing the mutual integration of the self that happens in truly secure, reciprocal attachments.
Wait, hold on. Let's look at the lawyer for a second.
Okay.
Because his entire career, his literal daily training, is based on gathering facts to fix problems.
Oh, entirely. Lawyers are fixers.
Right, and we actually see that instinct kick in immediately in the song. The lyrics say, quote, he said, "Give me the details, I will see what I can do."
Typical lawyer response.
Exactly. He wants to execute a solution, but Manda shuts him down.
She does.
She rejects the fix entirely. She sings, quote, "I thanked him and said there are no reasons to."
Yeah.
So here's my question. If she is in such deep distress and she doesn't want him to fix it, why is she so intensely grateful for the call?
Right.
Like, why is his time so valuable if he isn't allowed to actually solve the issue?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, that right there is the core variable of this entire analysis.
Really?
Yeah. It comes down to the biological need for a witness versus the biological need for a solution.
A witness versus a solution. Okay.
When a nervous system is in a state of total overwhelm, it rarely needs a logistical fix. It really doesn't need an action plan.
Because it can't even process one.
Exactly. An action plan requires executive function, which, as we established earlier, is currently completely offline.
Right. The prefrontal cortex is shut down.
Exactly. So the lawyer's impulse to say, let me see what I can do, is a completely natural human attempt to exude control over the discomfort of the distress.
Wait, so he's trying to make himself feel better by fixing her?
Unconsciously, yes.
Wow.
It's how he regulates his own anxiety about her pain. But Manda's rejection of that fix, when she says there are no reasons to, that is a radical shift in paradigm.
How so?
Well, she isn't asking to be rescued from the situation. She is just asking to not be alone inside of it.
That's deep.
Yeah. The profound gratitude stems from the fact that when she rejected his solution, he didn't just hang up.
He stayed on the line.
He stayed, he accepted her boundary and just sat in the dark with her.
And she goes even further into that darkness, doesn't she? She tells him point blank, quote, "The dead are dead." I pinned those beautiful butterfly thoughts to a board in my head.
Yeah, she's actively refusing to let him try to resuscitate those thoughts.
Right. She's basically saying, don't do CPR on these bugs. They're gone.
Which brings us to a really important clinical concept, which is radical acceptance.
Radical acceptance. I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a highly specific distress-tolerant skill used in therapies like dialectical behavior therapy or DBT.
Okay, what does it actually mean in practice?
It means completely and totally accepting reality exactly as it is without trying to fight it, deny it, or fix it.
Wow.
So when she says the dead are dead, she is executing a profound psychological pivot.
But wait, this brings up a bit of a paradox, doesn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, if someone just accepts their thoughts or dreams are dead, doesn't that just lead to despair? Like, how does acceptance actually trigger healing?
It definitely feels like it should lead to despair, right? But biologically, the exact opposite happens.
Really?
Because when you fight reality, when you say, these thoughts shouldn't be dead, I need to fix them, I need to bring them back, you are burning massive amounts of cognitive and emotional energy.
Oh, I see. You're just exhausting yourself.
Exactly. You are trapped in a state of chronic stress, feeding the rumination. You are exhausting your nervous system. By accepting that they are dead, you stop the resistance. You drop the rope.
Drop the rope, yeah.
Paradoxically, letting the butterflies stay dead frees up all the biological resources you were previously using to fight reality.
So she clears the board.
She completely clears the board.
So what does this all mean? If the thoughts are dead and the lawyer friend can't fix the problem, where does the healing actually materialize?
Well, look at the end of the song.
Right, the answer comes in the final turn of the song. She sings, quote, "But this song will live because of you and the beautiful thoughts you have put into my head."
Exactly.
The emotional survival strategy isn't just about enduring the pain. She is actually transmuting it.
Yes, transmuting is the perfect word.
The dead thoughts stay dead on that board. But that exact 55-minute and 23-second phone call planted entirely new thoughts. The act of creation, this very song, becomes the self-healing.
And we can track that straight to neuroplasticity.
The brain's ability to rewire itself.
Precisely. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. The friend's gift of undivided time and active listening severely disrupted her rumination cycle.
Because he was just there.
Right. By offering his regulated presence, he introduced novel, safe stimuli into her environment. Those, quote, beautiful thoughts you have put into my head, they aren't just poetic lyrics.
They're literal.
Yes, they are literal descriptions of new neural pathways forming in real time.
Wow. So he gave her brain new material to work with.
Precisely. And the physical manifestation of those new pathways is the song itself. The song is a living, breathing artifact of co-regulation.
That's beautiful.
Look at the contrast, you know? The trauma-produced paralysis and dead, pinned butterflies. But the interpersonal connection produced neuroplasticity, which produced art. It is a biological alchemy.
And it all loops brilliantly back to that exact measurement of time.
It does.
The final lines of the song repeat the stopwatch metric. Quote, 55 minutes and 23 seconds long. A treasure trove of thought to think about on our island in our dreamy sea.
A treasure trove.
Yeah, the time he freely gave her across those time zones becomes the new treasure. It completely replaces the dead butterflies.
Right.
It becomes the new living thought she can focus on when she's back on that mental island.
If we distill all of this complex neurobiology down to a practical, real-world application for you, the listener, it reveals the immense, tangible power of offering someone your undivided presence.
Yeah, just being there.
Because if you're listening right now and someone you care about sends up a distress signal, your instinct will almost certainly be to act like the lawyer initially did.
You want to fix it.
Exactly. You're going to want to say, give me the details. Let's fix this.
Because we hate seeing people in pain.
We do. But the science of the human nervous system tells us that you don't necessarily need to fix their problem to save them.
Wow.
Simply sitting with them, syncing your breathing to theirs, crying with them, and holding a boundary of safety for 55 minutes can be the exact biological catalyst they need to break out of their own paralysis.
Your presence becomes the environment in which they heal themselves.
Absolutely.
It really is a masterclass in the value of simply being a witness. It takes an incredible amount of courage to turn that kind of raw, dysregulated vulnerability into an artifact of art that we can all learn from. Music by Manda Menzies, available on YouTube. Please support an independent creative. Like, share, and subscribe.
We've spent this entire time unpacking how the exact weight, texture, and boundary of a single, well-timed conversation can pull a human brain out of deep cognitive paralysis. This raises an important question, right? If our deepest psychological distress can be alchemized into a treasure trove of thought, just by sharing it with a nervous system tuned to our frequency. Well, who is currently stranded on an island of dead thoughts in your own life, just waiting for a 55-minute phone call to help them find the lost bits of themselves.
Was waiting for a lighthouse coordinate to stop the spinning.